Hello and welcome to the first part of the Learning Listing video tutorial. Let's click on Learner Listing. In Part 1, we'll be focusing on using filters to find a learner and the details that you can add and remove regarding each learner. Let's start with the filters. Right at the top of the window, you will see two options: filter by grade and filter by class. If we click on this drop down arrow, we will see you can filter by a specific grade in the school. Let's click on grade 9 for example, and in this it shows all the grade 9 learners. Note that this is grade 9H, there are learners from grade 9K and grade 9T and a few others. If we want to filter by class, we'll use this one, and we want, say for example, grade 9H, and these are all the learners in grade 9H. If we want to go back to the list of all the students in the school, we click on Show All Current Learners. If you look on the top right, the number of learners in the school is 292. Remember, this will vary because in your school you may have 48 learners or you may have 400 learners. Now, what if I want to add a new learner? In order to do that, we click on this button here. Under Details, it says Add New Learner. If the learner already has a National Learner Tracking Number, then please enter the tracking number in the space provided below. The tracking number is issued by the National Tracking System and not by the school. Do not enter a tracking number unless the official national tracking number is indicated on the learner's transfer certificate. If you do not have the tracking number, click on this option here. The learner does not have a national tracking number. If the learner does, select this option and type it in over here. But for now, let's click on this one. Next, when you add a learner, 3 tabs appear: Personal Details, Additional Details, and Medical Information. Under these 3 categories, these 3 tabs, there are certain fields that are in blue. For example, the learner tracking number, the registration date, the current grade, initials, and a whole range of others. Remember, if a field is highlighted in blue, it means it is important and needs to be filled in. Let's look at additional details. Deals with the home language, the language of instruction, and the preferred language of instruction. Previous school, province, and previous country. These are all required fields. In medical information, there are no required fields, but it is advised that you fill it in. Let's go back to personal details. If you are adding a learner for the current year, make sure this is selected. If you're adding a learner for a future year, make sure you've clicked on that circle. Note that the year changes to the following year and not the current year. Let's add a learner for the current year. To add information, simply click in and then start typing in the number. I don't have a learner in front of me, so I'll just put in a number. Now, registration date is the actual date that the learner enters the school. So, for example, if the learner only came into the school on the 28th, then you need to change that. Now, the learner entered the school in grade, well, let's say grade 9. The inclusion status is mainstream. There is no S&E primary disability. The current grade, say grade 9. Years in the grade, it's the first year in this grade. Class, we're going to put the learner in 9M. To add the surname, you just simply click in and type. Remember, initials must be capital. In this field it says first name only. If the learner has a second or third name, you need to put them separately in these two spaces here. Birth date. Remember to give the year, month and day. Gender is a drop-down option, male or female. Population group. There are various options that you can choose from. Citizenship of learner. Is it SA citizen or an immigrant? The ID number is also vital, as this is another form of tracking. If there is no ID available, then there needs to be a reason. If the learner has applied and has not received it yet, then select that one. If, for example, they have not yet applied, then a reason needs to be stated. Country of residence. Are they residing in South Africa, or do they reside outside of Africa and come into the country for schooling? And the province of residence. The residential and contact details, where the learner lives. This is not necessarily important, as it is not highlighted in blue, but yet again, the more information you add, the better the system will run. Let's click on additional details. The languages. Home language. Is the student isiZulu, sign language, English or Afrikaans home language? Let's make this isiZulu. Language of instruction. This is the language that the learner is taught in. Let's say English as an example. The preferred language of instruction, English. Boarding. Is the learner a boarder? If you click on yes, normally schools have a boarder number, and in a previous component or module, you added in your hostel names, and so you can select from this list. If the learner is not a boarder, click on no. Mode of transport. Does the child come from with a taxi, or an employer bus, or a bicycle? Number of children in the family. This is just a number that you need to fill in, also for position in the family and on the mother's side and father's side. Any deceased parents. None. Mother deceased, father deceased, both parents deceased. Religion. You need to type in the religion that the child follows. Sport or house group. If you have in the previous component added in a sport or house group, then you can click from the list below. If there aren't any provincial honours that the learner has earned, you can add them in here. If this is the first time enrollment for grade 1, then you can click here and then select. But as you can see, because I'm registering the learner for grade 9, this field is grayed out and cannot be used. If there's any information about the previous enrollment, you need to add it in here, and the province that the previous school was in, or any previous country. Is this a first time enrollment in this province? If the child's been previously enrolled in this province, select this one. If the child hasn't, then click on this one. Previous school information. Is it a feeder school that we added in general school information? Then you can select from one of these schools that you've added in previously. Or is it a new one, or not a feeder school? Then add in the information here. Next, let's click on medical information. Medical and social information. This is very important if an incident at the school happens and you need to contact the doctor, or if you need to contact any medical assistance. This will help a lot in case the parents are not able to respond. There are a few options to select here. One of these is dexterity of learner. Right-handed, left-handed, ambidextrous. All this information may not be highlighted in blue, but it does pay off in the end to have all this information. And lastly, does this learner benefit from the primary school nutrition project at your school? Yes, no, or not applicable. Any social grants information. Is a child registered for child support, maintenance, foster child, or receiving any of these? You just need to click and it will tick it for you. Remember to add the grant number. Once you've completed all this information, there is this option over here which says learner photograph. Browse for photograph. Let's click on that. This window opens up. Select image. Please make your selection. If we were to click on yes, it'll use the new way. Select a portion or part of an image. It'll use less space and there'll be less distortion. If we were to click on no, it will use the old way to select the entire image. Well, I want to say yes, and I'm going to use the new way. Over here, this allows you to move the picture around once you've loaded it. This over here allows you to zoom in and out of the picture. This fits the pictures to the width and this to the height. Let us load a picture first. Once you have found your student's picture, click on it and then click on Open. On the right hand side is a preview box to show you how the picture will look like once it's been cropped. To move this meshed field around, use these buttons on the right hand side. You can click and drag or click on the picture itself to move it around. If you wish to, you can either increase or decrease the movement speed. Let's increase the movement speed a bit, and I'm going to aim for the face. Now let us zoom out a bit so we can include more of the face, and then readjust it a bit more. I'm happy with that. Once you are happy with your selection, click on Select Thumb. Now that same picture appears in this preview box over here. Once you're happy with all of that, the last thing to do is to click on the reporting language. I'm going to select English for now. Once you are done, you need to click on Save. If you have left out any important information, a user message will pop up to say please enter the surname, or please enter anything else that you've left out. I'm going to click on Done, and I do not want to save any of the changes I've made. Once you have completed it, click on Done in this one. The next button to look at is View or Update Learner. Say for example, I want to find a learner in grade 10 and I want to look at Vic. Now, in order to get a quick summary of the learner's profile, double click on this learner's name. You will see the learner, their class, the date, the grade, date of birth, the subjects they take, the educators. If they have any marks or anything captured, then it would appear over here. And any tasks and the mark that they got will also appear over here. If you added a comment, you can click on Save Comment over here. If you want to print a summary, you need to click over here. If you want to print both of the grids, meaning both this over here and this one over here, then click Print Both Grids. If you say just print summary, it only prints this section over here. Let's click on Done. If you want to see more detailed information, you need to click on View and Update Learner. Once you've clicked on View and Update Learner, the same four fields appear: personal details, additional details, medical information, and then NSC exam registration. If you wish to add a photo, it was the same one, browse for photograph, or if there is one already there and you want to remove it and update it, click on Remove. If you wish to add any disciplinary records for Vic or any learner that you've selected, you can select on the disciplinary records button and you can choose, is it a merit or a demerit. If you wish to add a record, be it a merit or demerit, click on Add Record, then select, is it a demerit or is it a merit, the level, the points for and against, the specific code or description. Remember, these are all drop-down button options that you can select from. Is it awarded or reported by? There's a list of the educators over here. The date that it happened. Then the next field is demerit action. The discipline options. Was it disciplined internally? Referred to an agency? Was the learner suspended? Recommended for expulsion? Or expelled from this particular school? The action level. Code and description that you can add in a different module. And disciplined by. If there was a referral to an outside agency, you need to write in the name over there. And then the term of suspension, if any, how many days, and the date at which the child was expelled. Click on Save to save the information, or Done if you haven't added anything. If there is an existing record and you wish to amend it, you need to click on the record and then click on Edit Record. This will allow you to change any of the information inside. If you wish to delete a record, all you need to do is click on it and then say Delete Record. If you wish to print a record, you just need to click on one and then click on Print, and the print screen will open up where you can choose what printer to use to print it. Let's click on Done. The next one is learning barriers. Are there any learning barriers? You can click on Add. If there is one already, you can click on Edit. If there was an existing one and not anymore, click on Delete. Or if you want to print a specific one, click on Print. Incident information. This lists the number of incidents that have happened with this particular student. Remember, you can add a new one to say on what date it occurred. What type of incident was it? Domestic violence, pregnancy, racial conflict, or other. Remember to add any additional comments, because when you want to print it for the parents or the caretakers to see, they would like to know as much information as possible as to what exactly happened at the school. Let's do something silly, like click on pregnancy. The program will give you an error saying invalid option selected. Remember that this learner is male and it's impossible for them to become pregnant. So remember to be very specific as to what type of incident did occur. If any maternity leave period is applicable, remember to add the start date and the end date. Once you've made any changes, you need to click on Save. But for now, I'm going to click on Done. If you have made any changes and you don't want to save them, click on Done. Then it will ask you, are you sure you want to exit without saving? Yes, you do not want to save. If you wish to change the accession number, click over here. If you wish to change the learner tracking number, click over here. If you want to view the details of the main parent, click over here. There are general information for the parent, the details of a second parent living at the same address, and any correspondence details regarding this parent. If you've made any changes, select Update and then Done. Remember the reporting language for this learner is also displayed. If any changes have been made, click on Update and then Done. If a learner has left the school, how do you remove them from this list? In order to do that, you need to archive the learner. For example, let's choose Thomas. Thomas has recently left the school. So in order to remove them from the list of registered learners, we need to click on him first and then go to Archive Learner. The learner's brief details are displayed over here. Then we need to add in here the archive information, date that they left the school, the grade of learner on leaving date, whether in grade 10, 11 or 12, reason for leaving, was the cause an expulsion, did they graduate, long-term illness, did they drop out, abscond, pregnancy, and a few other options. It is important to add these as this all helps with statistics collecting. Once you've added all this information, save it to the archive. Remember, you need to add a reason for archiving this learner. Save to archive. Remember, it will ask you, are you sure? Yes. It will say the record has been archived. Click on OK. The next option is Maintain RCL. When you click on Maintain RCL, RCL stands for Representative Council for Learner Members. If there are any active members, they will display in this area here. If you want to add a new member, click over here. If you want to edit an existing member, remember to select them and then click on Edit Member. If you wish to delete a member, click over here. If you click on Verify Composition, it gives you a number of members in each grade in the school and then the total numbers. If you wish to print out all this information, click over here. This concludes the first part 1 for learner listing. Thank you.